Welcome to Shamford. I'm Chesa, and here we discuss all things 3D printing. So I was browsing through Maker World a couple nights ago and came across this designer who had many downloads. At first, I thought the pictures were really cool. They were well lit and everything. But interestingly, none of the comments had any photos. And it didn't take me long to realize that the models were AI generated and existing comments and ratings were probably fake as well. So at this point, I was like, oh well, another fake account, whatever. But a lot of the models didn't look that bad, if I'm being honest. They were way better than the AI slop I've seen in the past. So I picked one model and decided to give it a go. So in this video, I'm challenging myself to take this somewhat unusable model and turn it into a successful Pikachu figure that I can be proud of. First things first, I think I owe you an explanation as to why this is an AI slop. There's a bunch of examples, very strange layer lines that are all going in different directions within one body. And you might be asking why someone would build layer lines into the model. And my guess is that the designer was never going to print the model, but they still wanted a convincing photo from the rendering to be able to post online. I think the layer lines on this stripe pattern is also messed up, but anyway, layer lines are one example. And here's another giveaway where this piece of geometry is just hanging in the air. It is technically attached to the main body, but when you slice it, I don't think it's going to connect. It's a little hard to see, but yeah, it's just floating in the air. And these plant-looking things, I think they're all supposed to be electric arcs, kind of coming out of the ground because Pikachu's angry and it's about to release electricity or something. I think the AI got a little confused and turned some of them into regular plants like grass. On the back, there's a few that are kind of in between. This one, I don't know, it's neither of those things. But yeah, so that would be another example. Okay, here we are back at the bench. So what have I done to make it better? Obviously, Pikachu is now a separate piece on its own. I have a much better access to the underside and it'll make sanding a lot easier. And for the base, the biggest change was that I printed it like this with you can sort of see the trace down here with a custom support built into the model just because I use a bed slinger. But the reason I tilted the model is because I wanted a nicer finish up top because otherwise it would have been really bad right around here. And B, the other reason is that I don't think the tree support would have been able to reach all the way here if the model was printed like this. I don't know if you can see on the camera, but there's some extreme overhang in different parts of the model, so that would have been very ugly. And obviously the elephant in the room is that on the backside where all the supports were, it looks terrible. But I think this is still okay because it's the backside. And I'm still going to try and sand and make it look nice, but even if I don't do a good job or do a perfect job, it's going to be less noticeable. And this piece, it's not that important, but I printed it separately to save elements. And there's one thing I forgot to mention earlier in the video, and that is the little electric arc pieces coming out of the cheeks. These were barely attached to the face and there was no way they were going to print properly. So I modified these pieces to be a little longer on one end so that I can drill holes on Pikachu's face and put them in the holes. Okay, I just came back from a bunch of sanding. This main tree crown is all smooth. Pikachu's bottom is all smooth. The backside is mostly smooth. This one grass patch was a little too far gone, so I removed that entirely. And right here, I actually sanded all the way through, so I used some nail polish and baking soda to patch that up. So at this point in time, I would consider the fixing to be complete as far as the AI slop is concerned. I apply some tweaks to what was previously unprintable, and now all the pieces are ready. But since I'm making the video anyway, I'll keep going and include the footage for the remainder of the project. If you want, you're free to stick around. Okay, a few things have happened since the last footage. I attached the main limb to the base, and Pikachu now has little arc branches sticking out of the cheeks. I'll insert the B-rolls here. When it's all said and done, it's going to look something like this, which I hope to finish sometime today. I think this is a good time for me to share my thoughts on AI while you watch me paint. Actually, I'm pro AI. I always open the file in the slicer and check the geometry myself anyway, so I don't really care if the file came from a human or an AI software. What bothers me though is when people upload untested files to MakerWorld. I feel bad for beginners who are sold the idea of effortless 3D printing experience where you open your phone, push a button, and print is done a few hours later. With so many untested and unvetted files out there, it makes it harder for that experience to be the reality. And I'll also say that this is not my first time printing an AI generated model. This is my third project as far as I'm aware, but who knows, maybe I printed a bunch more without knowing. Speaking of, here's a B-roll of my past project that was also AI generated, which I knew about going into it, and I still really like it, and it still has a place on my shelf. Anyway, the paint is dry. Let's look at the result. Alright, here we are. This model definitely didn't take a day to finish. It's almost a week later, but the good news is that the model is finished, glued up, painted, and everything else. At this point, the only thing remaining is applying a couple coats of clear coat, which I can't do because it's snowing outside, but I'll do that in a few days. There's no rush. If you're into this kind of stuff and are able to replicate what I've done to this model, I definitely recommend it. I wouldn't exactly call it a beginner-friendly model, just because the number of places where it's really hard to reach with your paintbrush and things like that. But if you want a little challenge, it's a good model, I want to say. And I want to hear from you. What's your take on AI slop? Do you like it, hate it, think it's ethically wrong? Anyway, that's it for this project. I want to thank you for watching and hope you got something out of this video. See you in the next one. Bye.